Nnamdi Kanu appeals to Trump. Stop Second Rwanda. Genocide against Judeo-Christians in Nigeria. In a 4-page open letter dated November 6, 2025, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has issued a desperate plea to U.S. President Donald J. Trump to intervene in what he describes as a hidden genocide targeting Judeo-Christian communities in eastern Nigeria. Writing from solitary confinement at the State Security Services, SSS, headquarters in Abuja, Kanu warns that without immediate American action, Nigeria risks becoming a second Rwanda in Africa. Kanu, a British Nigerian activist and prisoner of conscience, has been detained for over 1,196 days despite multiple court orders for his release, including a landmark October 13, 2022 Court of Appeal ruling that discharged him and condemned his rendition from Kenya as illegal. Addressing Trump as a practicing Jew and believer in the Judeo-Christian heritage, Kanu recalls attending a Trump campaign event in Des Moines, Iowa, in January 2020. He cites the president's October 31, 2025, statement that the U.S. is prepared to act militarily and cut aid if Nigeria fails to protect its Christian population. You have seen the truth. Christians in Nigeria face an existential threat, Kanu writes. I write to you now to reveal that this genocide is not confined to the north. It has metastasized into the Igbo heartland. The letter details a series of massacres carried out by Nigerian security forces against peaceful Judeo-Christian worshippers in the southeast, operating under the guise of counter-terrorism operations against IPOB. Biafra Heroes Day, Massacre, May 30, 2016. Amnesty International reported at least 150 peaceful Christian worshippers killed, with bodies dumped in rivers. UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Kalamar documented security forces opening fire on demonstrators at St. Edmund's Catholic Church. National High School Aba Massacre, February 9, 2016, 22. Igbo civilians killed on site while praying. 13 bodies exhumed from a borrow pit. Calamard noted soldiers from the 144 Battalion fired indiscriminately into a crowd of young Christians singing hymns. Operation Python Dance 2, September 12-14, 2017. Amnesty International's 2025 report, A Decade of Impunity, documented 150-plus killed in Afarakwu, including in a raid on Kanu's home. The UN rapporteur described asymmetric use of lethal force. Obigbo Massacre, October 2020. Following NSAR's protests, security forces allegedly conducted extrajudicial killings in Rivers State. Port Harcourt Trump Solidarity Rally, January 20, 2017. IPOB supporters celebrating Trump's inauguration were reportedly gunned down by soldiers. State-sponsored impunity. Kanu accuses the Nigerian government of weaponizing insecurity to demonize IPOB, despite U.S. State Department confirmation in 2021 of zero evidence of violence by the group. He claims over 2,000 Igbo youths have been killed in counter-terrorism operations between 2021-2025, Intersociety 2025. The architect of these policies, according to Kanu, is Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, former Chief of Army Staff. In 2021, then-President Buhari appointed Buratai as ambassador to Benin Republic, granting him diplomatic immunity to evade International Criminal Court prosecution. Legal violations and international condemnation. Kanu's detention itself exemplifies the alleged state capture of rule of law. Kenyan High Court, 2021. Condemned his extraordinary rendition, petition number E282. Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, opinion number 25/2022. Declared his continued imprisonment arbitrary, unlawful, and politically motivated. Nigerian Court of Appeal, October 13, 2022, discharged Kanu, ruling his rendition illegal and barring trial. Federal High Court condemned rendition and detention. Yet Kanu remains in SSS custody, in what he calls blatant violation of constitutionally protected double jeopardy safeguards. Specific requests to President Trump. Kanu urges immediate U.S. action. Launch a U.S.-led independent inquiry into state-sponsored massacres with access to mass graves and military logs. Convene emergency congressional hearings on the Igbo Christian genocide, featuring the 2022 Court of Appeal judgment and UN Nigerian reports. Impose targeted Magnitsky Act sanctions on Buratai, former DSS Director General Yusuf Bichi, and implicated military commanders. Support an internationally supervised referendum on self-determination for the Biafran people, per Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. A non-violent plea from prison. Despite surviving 4 assassination attempts, Kanu maintains IPOB's commitment to non-violence. We seek only justice, truth, and freedom. Invoking the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he closes, "Grant you wisdom and courage to deliver his people once again." The White House has not yet responded to the letter, delivered through the U.S. Embassy in Abuja. As sectarian violence continues in Nigeria's southeast, Kanu's appeal represents a critical test of President Trump's pledge to protect persecuted Christians worldwide. Enclosures with Kanu's letter include full texts of the 2022 Court of Appeal judgment, UN reports, Amnesty International findings, and Intersociety documentation.